We thought we'd heard it all. We thought we knew every name, every pain, and every story. We were wrong. It turns out there were 11 victims that we had not heard of because they were reticent to relive their most difficult moments and did not wish to be publicly identified. As I promised, this video is about those previously unheard victims of Alex Murdaugh. They are identified only by initials in this motion, and I will honor their wishes to remain anonymous by not seeking to discover who they are. Are you ready to hear their stories? Let's get started. This is Legal Updates with Cassidy. 11 previously unknown victims of Alex Murdaugh. Where will it end? Welcome. Not only was I surprised not to have heard of these people, I was also surprised to learn that this actually had begun long before Hakeem Pinckney, Arthur Badger, and even the Plyler sisters, and long before checks started being cashed through Cousin Eddie and others. I'm happy to see that the state has not stopped their investigation to discover the full extent of Alex's crimes. Let's go through these victims one by one. This first case happened in September 2005 to a victim identified as L.B. Alex obtained a $750,352.74 recovery on L.B.'s behalf. He then filed an undated false disbursement sheet in the Allendale Court of Common Pleas and diverted $292,179.17 of those settlement proceeds for his own personal use. He also withheld an additional $2,030.89 in overcharged attorney's fees. So this victim lost a total of $294,210.06. This was 19 years ago. Our next victim is from November 2008. Alex obtained a $1,004,542.32 total recovery, and then in November 2008, he filed a false disbursement sheet in the Colleton County Court of Common Pleas, where he diverted $50,000 in settlement proceeds meant for the client to his own personal use. Our third victim with the initials BJ, Alex obtained $350,000 on their behalf, of which he withheld $35,000, which was supposed to be towards the payment of a medical lien. But, unbeknownst to the client, he had negotiated that lien down to $18,971.42. And in December of 2009, he diverted the remaining $15,893.58 to overcharged attorney's fees. Victim number 4, initials GS. Back in March of 2010, Murdaugh obtained a $500,000 recovery on behalf of this client. $333,333.34 was meant for the client. $166,666.66 was meant for the legal fees. But again, he filed a false disbursement sheet in the Hampton County Court of Common Pleas, where he reported a $900,000 recovery with $300,000 in associated legal fees, overstating the fees he was owed by $133,333.34. He then diverted an additional $36,000 of the settlement proceeds to his personal use. In December of 2010, he obtained a $55,000 recovery on behalf of client YF. He filed an undated false disbursement sheet in Colleton County Court of Common Pleas and reflected the recovery to only be $25,000. He diverted the remaining $30,000 of settlement proceeds to his own personal use. In that same month, December 2010, he obtained a $585,000 recovery on behalf of client CC. He filed another false disbursement sheet, this time in Hampton County Court of Common Pleas, and diverted $20,000 of the settlement proceeds meant for the client to his own personal use. And this is interesting. It doesn't name the friend, but he also illegally diverted an additional $8,400 to a friend, possibly someone that's being looked into with the grand jury right now. Or it could be someone that he owed money to. Looks like he was a good boy for a while on this, but actually, in the years in between this next unnamed person, he was very busy stealing from the Plyler sisters, Arthur Badger, Hakeem Pinckney, and Natasha Thomas. So in December 2014, and here's the part that's very interesting, Murdaugh and Wilson obtained $500,000 recovery on behalf of client JV. As in the Ferris case, in December 2014, Wilson wrote a check for $100,000 in legal fees meant for PMPED directly to Murdaugh. So, amidst the rumors that Wilson is the one being investigated, this very well could be the reason. It happening once, and him saying he didn't understand what was happening, is one thing. Happening more than once, it's hard to give the benefit of the doubt, because Chris Wilson was a lawyer himself. He knew how these things were supposed to work. He knew that legal fees did not get made out in checks to the actual lawyer, but they were supposed to go through the firm. Here we have him back in December 2014, writing a check to Alex for $100,000. Then Alex diverted these legal fees to his own personal use. And there's more. The next month, January 2015, the same two people, Murdaugh and Wilson. They obtained $1,098,326.83 for their client ER. Alex withheld $7,500 from the settlement proceeds for a false payment to medical resources for an expert retainer fee. Now in this case, it doesn't look like Wilson was involved with any of that, but apparently these two often tried cases together. Next, in October 2018, Murdaugh obtained a $250,000 recovery on behalf of client MD. He again filed a false disbursement sheet in Hampton County Court of Common Pleas and diverted $19,500 of settlement proceeds meant for the client to his own personal use. A few months later, in December 2018, he obtained $897,500 in a total recovery on behalf of client AH. He filed a false disbursement sheet in the Allendale Court of Common Pleas and diverted $148,073.46 of settlement proceeds meant for the client and $77,000 of legal fees meant for PMPED to his personal use. And our last client was February 2019, where he obtained $355,693 in total recovery for client BB. He filed more false disbursement sheets and this time diverted the entire settlement, $354,334.48 of client settlement funds and $1,358.52 of legal fees to his personal use. The entire amount. And this is after the boat crash, as that case was coming upon him, and in the year 2019, that's when he stole from Gloria Satterfield and Blondell Gary. Those accounts alone totaling almost $3.5 million. And now we see him taking almost $1.3 million in that same year. This was the year that he stole the absolute most. And we can guess exactly what he was doing at that time. He was trying to get as much cash as he could tucked away somewhere safe because he knew this boat crash was going to ruin him financially. There is no doubt about it. $4,733,535.39 in that single year, 2019 alone. There is absolutely no chance that he spent close to $5 million in a single year on opiates. But doesn't this lead to a bigger question? What kind of books were being kept at that law firm? Was there no accounting for the cases that were taking place? How were huge checks being completely diverted and no one seemed to notice? How were lawyer fees being given to Alex and not run through the firm and no one seemed to notice? How was that company paying their taxes? When you're running a business, you have to pay taxes every quarter. You have to have your books balanced to do that. How was such a big institution missing all of this. They are big in terms of Hampton. They're not so big that millions are that easy to lose track of. I will never understand. And I'm so happy to see that this case is still being investigated and that they're digging stuff up from way back to 2005. And it's still my hope that the judges that allowed this to happen will also be called to justice. He got away with this for so long, but it does seem that with the whole world watching, that they continue to get it right. We had the big win today in his federal sentencing hearing, we had the big win for his state sentencing hearing, and we had the big win for the murder charges. Let's hope we keep winning, and that they find every person that had a hand in this disgusting thievery will be also called to justice alongside Alex. Besides of appeals, Alex has been taken care of now. We're also watching Corey's upcoming appeal for his state sentencing and Russell's upcoming appeal for his federal sentencing. As always, I will bring anything I find as far as updates in all of those cases to you. Till then, this is Cassidy O'Connell saying stay well and stay tuned.